Welcome to Common Man Cocktails. I'm your host, Derek Schomer. Today, we're going to celebrate Mardi Gras. We're going to do that with a Vieux Carré. Now, the Vieux Carré is a cocktail that dates back to like the 1930s. I think it's French for Old Square, which is another phrase, or maybe the way you'd say it in English, for the French Quarter. That's the area of the French Quarter that most tourists go to. I've been there. If you've ever been to Tale of the Cocktail Conference, where they do these week-long cocktail conferences with all the different brands, you get to taste and go to these different events. Happens in the route is typically in the Hotel Monteleone, which happens to be exactly where this cocktail was invented. So a little bit more on that in a second. The drink recipe is going to be 3/4 of an ounce of rye, cognac, sweet vermouth, Bénédictine. We're going to do 1/4 ounce. Just a little bit. We'll give it a little herbal flair, a little sweetness. This drink doesn't have any sours, so it's just going to be basically spirit, some sweet vermouth, and a little bit of more additional herbal sweetness from the Bénédictine, and that's it. And then we're going to get some bitters. We're going to use two dashes of two different types of bitters. Peychaud bitters, also invented in the New Orleans, actually French Quarter, I believe, and Angostura, not invented in the French Quarter, but in every pretty much classic cocktail that exists since the dawn of time. This is a stir, so what you're going to need to get yourself is an old-fashioned glass, because that's what you put them in. I have a little icy water here to chill it up a little bit. I'm going to stir it in my mixing glass with my jigger and my spoon. And you can get these at awesomedrinks.com, which is my store. I just spent like 3 months redesigning it, rebuilding it. So it's a little faster, a little bit, it's a darker color. Check out the website. It's shop.awesomedrinks.com. Pick up your mixing glasses. Just got them in stock yesterday. Jiggers, just got them in stock yesterday. We're ready to go. So you're going to build it in your mixing glass. You could either build it over the ice or add the ice later. I'm going to add the ice later so it doesn't add any additional dilution to it. Typically, you're going to know your cheapest ingredients first. I don't really know which one that happens to be in this case. Maybe the sweet vermouth. Let's do that. And it's 3/4. So, boom. 3/4. I'm using Martini Rossi Sweet Vermouth. You could use your favorite sweet vermouth. If you don't have a favorite sweet vermouth, I would suggest this one because it's not too excessive and over the top, which Carpano Antica can be, and it can be a lot. It's very bold. I'm using for my cognac. I am not a cognac connoisseur. I'm just using my pocket flask of Courvoisier. I don't know where I got this. I think somebody gave it to me, but it's got that nice, you can stick it like in your back pocket, I guess. It's about the size of, it's about the size of my iPhone Pro Max. So, also a tablet. Boom. So this is going to be a little bit more of a challenge. You could do basically, if it's 1/4 ounce. If you don't have 1/4 ounce to measure, this has 1/4 ounce to measure. Oh, it does. I should be getting some of these in stock soon too. These tiny jiggers. I like them because they do the 1/4 ounce plus a full ounce. And a bunch of other measures too. But really it's 1/4 ounce. If you don't have 1/4 ounce, you could probably get away with 2 bar spoons. Some actual Vieux Carré recipes will just say 2 bar spoons of Bénédictine. 3/4 ounce of rye. For that I've chosen, it seems like a good time to pick my Sazerac rye, which again, New Orleans themed. Sazerac, I believe, is from that area or invented in that area. It's not from there now. Believe this is created by the same company as this now. 2 dashes for bitters. So for those that don't understand what bitters are, quick tutorial for you. Bitters kind of tie the room together. It's like the accent. It brings all the flavors together. It kind of fills in the holes where maybe there might be an off-balance flavor. In most drinks, that might not necessarily always be the case, but it adds just that nice consistency. This also gives you a little bit of that fennel flavor. 1, 2. Black licorice, herbal, where the Ongo gives you more of like maybe a nutmeg or an allspice or an island flavor. 1, 2. In most classic cocktails, typically, like I said, call for these guys, at least one of these two. These two are the more old. I believe Angostura is ancient by comparison to Peychaud. That might not be true. Both of them are probably 1800s or before I was born. Whoa! Ice it up. Ice your glass. But if you ever do find yourself with a cocktail that you've either invented or found, and usually if it's a themed cocktail and they tend to be like themed and colorized to the right theme and color, but don't necessarily prioritize taste. You could try cocktail bitters and those to try to like bring the taste to kind of like a whole flavor instead of just like a disjointed mess. Doesn't always work, but it does help. We're going to stir this for 30 seconds. We're going to throw some ice. My ice is pretty small, so it's going to get cold pretty quick. It's already pretty much there. However, you want that dilution, especially in a spirit-forward drink like this, where your vermouth and your Bénédictine are your only sweetening agents. The cold is going to help a little bit, but it's also going to be a lot more of that dilution, which is going to bring in some of the water, accents the flavors, kind of makes it pop, and brings down some of the potency a little bit. You will hear people complain, usually people who are dumb, that say, I don't want you to add ice to my drink because you're diluting it and you're giving me less alcohol because you're filling it with ice instead. No, you're filling it with the ice and the water dilution because that's part of the recipe, not because they want to give you less spirit. Just do shots or stay at home and drink out of the bottle if that's the way you roll. But don't go to a bar and think people are ripping you off because they added ice to your cocktail. That's dumb. I don't have any available because I just either didn't prep correctly because I'm an idiot, but you could use like a cherry or a lemon zest, like a nice big old lemon zest around this, or flip it off the side if you want to get super classic and make it awesome. I am not going to do that today because I will literally just cut off a lemon rind and then it just sits there and my lemon gets bad. So that, my friends, that is a Vieux Carré. Yeah, I know. It's not very impressive looking. Kind of has that tiki vibe to it, just the brown. Smells like a rye, like a fruity rye. I almost get like a cherry vibe from that, which is weird. Maybe from the bitters, or it could be the sweet vermouth, actually, a little brown sugar. Just the right amount of sweetness and balance. You do get a little bit of Bénédictine is cool in the fact that you do not need a lot of it to get like a little sweet herbal flavor that like comes in the tail end of the drink. Get a little of that boozy like rye burn off, and then that little sweetness that kind of you think, oh yeah, there's sweet vermouth in here, but then there's like this other thing that's very hard to pick up, and a lot of the times you'll find that that's usually Bénédictine or a similar ingredient. Luxardo Maraschino is another one where it's like there's a flavor and I just can't pinpoint it. That's usually one of these guys playing it just subtly. Overall, it is on the more alcohol forward side, no juices, but at this time, even in Louisiana, where it's not like 100 degrees there right now, so this drink kind of straddles the line of like end of the winter, spirit forward flavor, spirit forward warmth. Yet still iced, still kind of like chilled. It's a neat complement to a 1930s cocktail. Oh, also, this was invented by Walter Bergeron at the Carousel Bar in Hotel Monteleone. If you've never been there, it's pretty neat. You literally, if you could get in, there's always a line at the bar. I think I've only sat at the bar like once in like 4 or 5 years going there. Usually I sit in the seats in the back because you just get more space. But if you can get at the bar, you basically sit there and like, I think it's every 30 minutes, it rotates around. It's literally a carousel and the bartender sits in the center. It's a neat idea. Just tends to be a little bit too congested. Probably going there in the wintertime you probably get a better chance of sitting down at the bar versus going down at Mardi Gras or in the springtime. But I give it, if you get there, definitely check out the hotel. It's a pretty neat place, old style look and feel to it. If you took a photo with your friends and you put it in the sepia or black and white, it would look like you are part of history. So there you go, my friends. Check out shop.awesomedrinks.com if you want to get your bar gear, bartender starter kit. The link is below. That's it. We are teaching you how to drink.